It's painful for a wife to live with a husband that's silent. She can't read your mind. That can become
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. You can be part of this family by hitting the subscribe button. And if you're a regular visitor, thank you so much for your continued support. Now, in today's topic, we're going to be talking about the silent treatment and if it works in a marriage. So I have stitched together some videos that we're all going to watch together, and I'll be giving my 2 cents and my thoughts on the other side. So please make sure you watch until the end. So see you on the other side.
It's painful for a wife to live with a husband that's silent. She can't read your mind. That can become emotionally abusive. When your wife wants to engage, wants to work on things, you have got to work through that with a professional. It could be resentment, it could be bitterness, you could be angry. I don't know. It's not fair to your wife because in a relationship, communication is the glue. Good communication is the glue.
If you're a guy that's talking about I can't communicate, okay, what exactly can you not communicate? What meaning do you attach to talking about your feelings? What does it mean when you're talking about, when you're being transparent about some of the issues that you're going through? What meaning have you attached? Where does it come from? How is that serving your relationship at the moment? If you continue to be in Komidla, you know, you go hide in your corner over there, but you can see that it's hurting your wife. Can you honestly not just let go of your ego a little bit and then realize that it might be helpful for you to give us some kind of an indication at least of what you're going through so that she doesn't have to go to 1,000 thoughts and then go and talk to her mother if they're trying to figure you out.
Without you in the room.
Without you in the room. And then the thing is that, and sometimes we create those scenarios where our wives have to go to their friends and, what kind of friends does she have? You know, how solid is their advice? What is their posture towards marriage?
Sure.
And we can create those vulnerabilities. Not that it's your fault, but you can create the vulnerabilities of a wife having to consult externally to try to figure you out. Because you have not learned to articulate you. As a matter of fact, do you even understand you?
A post I did a while back has started to get a lot of traction. It talks about the silent treatment. It talks about how I believe the silent treatment is a form of abuse. But there's a second side to the silent treatment that we need to talk about. Because when I talk about the silent treatment, I talk about people who ghost people or refuse to fix situations or fix things that need to be fixed. And so they just basically go silent. Main reason that these people go silent is because they don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to share their emotions in an effective, balanced, mature way. A lot of times it's because they grew up in a home where they weren't allowed to express their emotions. They weren't allowed to actually say what was on their mind because the parents in the household had to be in control of all that. They had to be in control of the narrative. So this person now doesn't know how to share their emotions in a balanced way. So it's easier for them to just run, for them to go silent and act like nothing ever happened because that's what their parents did to them growing up. It's honestly sad because I didn't grow up in a household where I wasn't allowed to speak my mind or my emotions. Everything was free reign. My ex-wife, on the other hand, wasn't allowed to express her emotions. She wasn't allowed to say what she truly felt. She ghosted me in the divorce. She just ran and just allowed the justice system to take care of it, allowed her father to female me because she didn't know how to express what she was going through. That's the other side that we need to realize about the silent treatment. Sometimes they're not doing it to be mean or manipulative or malice. They're doing it because they don't know how to share their emotions. They don't know how to be honest about what they're feeling and what they're going through. So it's easier for them just to run. That's the sad part about it because when you do that to somebody who actually truly loves you, it is heartbreaking. And it will break that person in two. Because you got two people who are actually both in a lot of pain. And if they were actually able just to talk, they might be able to fix the situation.
Silent treatment is very dangerous to a relationship or marriage. Number one, it makes you both drift apart. Number two, it solves no issues. Number three, it builds up your ego. Because of your ego, none of you is willing to come down and break the deadlock. Number four, it negatively affects the mood of the home. Number five, it hurts the children. They can tell mom and dad are not okay. Number six, it hinders progress. You don't get to address the goals you have as a couple. Number seven, it can lead to affairs. Number eight, it makes you not want to come home early. Number nine, it can lead to resentment. Number 10, you end up forming conclusions that are not true. Number 11, it ruins your sex life. Number 12, it hurts.
The moment you give in to that person who's giving you the silent treatment is the moment that you let them know they still have control over you. Those times when a person gives you the silent treatment, it's not just simply because they don't want to talk to you. It's a form of manipulation. They can exert control over you by cutting the communication or revoking access to them, because what are you going to do? You're going to go into this endless pursuit. This is the reason why I say self-security is so important. You need to know what you're afraid of, and you need to get those fears under control, especially if you have a deep-seated fear of abandonment or rejection. Because when that person gives you the silent treatment, it's simply just going to confirm your worst fears. When that person gives you the silent treatment, you're going to interpret that you did something wrong, or that they no longer care about you, when that may not simply be the case. That is simply a way for them to regain control in a situation where they feel like they have lost control. One-on-one manipulation. That person who gives you the silent treatment, they have studied you. They studied your fears. They studied your responses to those fears. What happens to you whenever you feel like they're upset with you? What happens to you whenever you feel like there's a loss of connection? What happens to you when they give you the silent treatment? What happens to you when they threaten the stability of the relationship? What happens to you when you no longer feel secure within that relationship? They know that eventually you are going to seek reassurance and to get that connection back, and you're going to give in. And then as that silent treatment goes prolonged, you're going to eventually become distressed. And let's just simply hope that you don't have a low distress tolerance, because you're going to become frantic and you're going to go on this desperate pursuit of trying to fix it and restore that relationship and restore that connection. Find security within yourself. So when a person decides that they want to manipulate you, when a person decides that they want to give you the silent treatment, when a person decides that they want to threaten the foundation, the stability of that relationship, although you may still become anxious, you may become hurt, they will not have all of the power. And that's what's most important. You want the ball to be in your court as well, not just theirs. They give you the silent treatment. You want to be able to say, okay, I see what it is that you're doing. We'll have a conversation when you're ready to have the conversation. But I'm not going to be the one who's going to sit here and try to pursue you. I'm not going to be the person who's going to reach out to you, because I see that you taking away the communication means that you don't know how to address the situations or the conflict that we need to address. Remember, boundaries are made to protect you, and you have to set a boundary with people who try to manipulate you. Bye, babies.
All right. Now, one reason why I love this topic is because it's something that a lot of married couples deal with, whether they want to admit it or not. You know what I mean? Those long stretches of cold shoulders, and also the unanswered texts, the slammed cabinet doors, or awkward car rides with nothing but the sound of your own breathing. Yeah, we've either been there, we've seen it, or we've done it. But here's the real question. Does the silent treatment actually work in a marriage, or is it more damaging than we think? So, in this video, we're going to unpack what the silent treatment really is, why people use it, the psychological effects it has on a relationship, whether it ever has a place in a healthy marriage, and what to do instead. So let's get into it. Let's start with definitions. A lot of people confuse needing space with the silent treatment, but they are not the same. The silent treatment is intentionally withholding of communication to punish, control, or avoid. It's not just cooling off. It's saying, you upset me, so now I'm going to ignore you and leave you to sit in it. That's very different from, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I need some time to calm down so that we can talk properly. See the difference? One is healthy detachment, the other one is emotional manipulation. So, for example, you and your partner get into an argument about finances. Instead of talking it out, your partner doesn't speak to you for 2 whole days. No good morning, no I'm heading out, no explanation, just silence. That's the silent treatment. And it's not just about what's not being said, it's the emotional withdrawal that makes it feel like punishment. People don't just wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to emotionally ice my spouse today. Usually, the silent treatment is used for one of these reasons. The first one is control. They want to force the other person to apologize, give in, or admit fault. The second one is to avoid vulnerability or deeper confrontation. So they do it out of protection of themselves. The third one is power, to tip the emotional scale in their favor. While the fourth one is retaliation, to get even for feeling hurt or disrespected. And sometimes it's just the only communication style they learned. Maybe, just maybe, they grew up in a household where no one talked about issues. Maybe they were taught that silence was safer than expressing pain. But the problem is, even if it comes from fear or habit, it still hurts the relationship. It's about, it's like building a wall and expecting your partner to climb it without any tools. Yeah, that's a perfect explanation of the silent treatment. Now we're going to talk about the emotional fallout from the silent treatment. And I want to be very clear here. This isn't about being dramatic. This is psychological harm. When you give or receive the silent treatment in a marriage, what you're really saying is, you don't deserve my voice, you don't deserve my clarity or comfort or closure. And that message is deeply destabilizing in a marriage where emotional safety is supposed to be a foundation. Now, here is what it often causes. The first one is anxiety. You end up asking yourself, did I do something wrong, or are they leaving me? It builds a sense of paranoia. You know what I mean? The second one is self doubt, where you're now asking yourself, am I too much or am I not enough? The third one is resentment. Over time, the ignored partner might shut down emotionally. And the last one is a polar opposite, which is escalation. The silence doesn't solve anything. Tension builds, then it explodes. It's emotional warfare. Quiet, but loud in impact. Now, let's get real. Some of you might be thinking, well, when I go silent, my partner eventually apologizes or changes. So, doesn't that mean it worked? On the surface, maybe. But here's the thing, if someone only changes behavior to avoid your silence, they are not actually growing, they are reacting. That's fear based compliance, not connection based change. And the cost is, over time, your partner may start walking on eggshells. They won't feel safe bringing things up because they're afraid of being frozen out again. That's not love. That's emotional blackmail, point blank, period. So, no, the silent treatment doesn't really work. It just creates distance, fear, and emotional fatigue. So, what should we be doing instead? Let's talk healthy conflict resolution, because silence isn't the only tool we have. So, I'm going to give you 5 alternatives that actually build the relationship instead of tearing it down. The first one is the cool down check in method. Go to your partner and say, I'm not in the right headspace to talk right now. I care about us and want to do this right. Can we check back in later today? That gives space and security. Secondly, you can use clear language. Try something like, I'm hurt right now and I need some time to process before we continue. It's okay to pause, but please communicate why you're doing so. Thirdly, schedule the conversation. Set a time. If the environment doesn't allow you, you can tell your partner, let's sit down tonight after the kids are asleep. That signals commitment to repair. Fourthly, journal or text what you're feeling. If verbal expression is hard, write it. It keeps the lines of communication open, even during tension. The last thing you can do, the last of many, is when you're ready to talk, let the other person speak without interrupting. Reflect back what you hear. That's how you rebuild trust. So, for example, you can say, what I'm hearing is that you felt dismissed when I made that joke. I realize it came off that way. I'm sorry. That right there is how intimacy is protected in conflict, not destroyed. Now, let's flip it. What if you're the one on the receiving end of the silent treatment? First things first, don't beg for attention. That reinforces the power imbalance. Instead, approach it with clarity. You can say something like, I feel shut out right now. If you need space, I respect that. But I need to know when we can reconnect and talk about what's going on. That message sets a boundary without escalating. And if the silent treatment continues long term, it's worth having a bigger conversation or even seeking counseling. Persistent silent treatment isn't just bad communication, it can become a form of emotional abuse. And if that's the case, please don't ignore it. You deserve to be heard, even in hard moments. Going forward, when we're dealing with the silent treatment, you have to rebuild after a pattern of silence. So let's say you and your spouse have used the silent treatment in the past. You're realizing it's been a problem and now you want to rebuild. Here's how to start. The first thing you can do is acknowledge it. You can say, I know I've shut down before when I was upset. I realize that hurt you and I want to work on that. The second thing you can do is create a conflict plan together. Decide how you communicate during tough moments. Thirdly, practice emotional honesty. Learn to name your feelings out loud, even if it feels awkward. Fourthly, please forgive, but set boundaries. Don't hold the past over each other's head, but also make clear that silence isn't an acceptable tool going forward. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be willing. So, does the silent treatment work in a marriage? The short answer is no. It might bring short term results, but long term, it damages trust, intimacy, and emotional safety. Instead of using silence as a weapon, use it as a window, a moment to pause, reflect, and then come back with clarity and care. Marriage isn't about avoiding conflict, it's about learning to move through it together without losing each other in the process. If this video helped you, please let me know in the comments. Have you ever used silence treatment or have you been on the receiving end of it? What did you learn from it? Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and share this video with someone who is navigating their own relationship growth. You'll never know who might need this message today. Until next time, be kind to yourself and be kind to your partner. Peace and love, y'all. From me, it's goodbye.